the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide. And so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love.
Well, good morning. Good morning, Riverside. Good morning, UUCR. It is good to be with you today. Any day we are together is a good day. Welcome to the live, in-person, and live Zoom worship service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Riverside. And welcome to the month of May, which is also Mental Health Month. And happy Cinco de Mayo today. Our opening hymn this morning is number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath, from the Gray Hymnal. The words are projected behind me. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life, though as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Thank you for joining us here in person, and thank you for joining us remotely by Zoom, where we will continue live streaming and posting these services on our YouTube channel for our virtual attendees. I'm Nick Williams, a member of the Worship Committee, and I will be your worship associate today. Our members include Alec Peck, our music coordinator, Adam Wedeking, who monitors our visual and online connections, Kate Lewicki, who is in charge of our sound system, and Tinka Friend, whose sermon you will hear today. We welcome you to join us this morning with an open mind and an open heart, and with muted electronic devices. We invite you to leave your worries and defenses at the door and trust that what happens in worship is inspiring and powerful. Together, we affirm that this day and our being together can make each of us braver, more compassionate, and wiser as we begin a new day and a new week. And now, I invite you to sit back, take a slow, deep breath as we move into the worship hour. Before we move into the service, there are a few announcements we would like to share. We will mention several websites, email addresses, and phone numbers. At the end of the service, we will leave up a slide with all this information, and it's available on our website. The newsletter, the monthly UCR newsletter, comes out the first of every other month by email and per request by postal mail. If you have something newsworthy or like to contribute, email uuchurchofriverside.calendar@gmail.com or call the church office at 951-686-6515. If you would like to be added to our mailing list, please contact the church office. Our first Sunday luncheon will be served after the service. Today's theme is Mexican dishes. Contributions are appreciated and will be donated to the church fund. Sincere appreciation goes out to Kate Lewicki, Linda Van Voorhees, and their team for all the hard work organizing and running the church yard sale this week. Special thanks also goes to all the volunteers who helped out. Thank you. Church Council will meet on the second Friday of the month in the annex. The next meeting will be at 4 p.m. on May 10th. A peace panel discussion will be held from 12 to 1 p.m. in the sanctuary following the luncheon. All are invited to attend and participate in the question and answer session. Women's Fed. The next Women's Fed meeting will be Saturday, May 11th in the Parish Hall. This month, Women's Fed will be hosting a coffee hour with the anti-racist Riverside organization from 1 to 3 p.m. Please join us for enlightening discussion and light refreshments. Everyone is welcome. Snacks and drinks are also appreciated. and the family barbecue. Come celebrate summer with us at our family barbecue on Saturday, May 18th at 3 p.m. It will be held on the lawn between the annex and the church. Tickets are on sale now. Please see Kate or Robert. Adults, $25 or volunteering equity. Children, 6 to 12, $10. Under 6 are free. And now I invite you to sit back, take another slow, deep breath as we move into the worship hour. You're welcome to read with me the mission statement of our church. Our mission: to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. We're getting really good at that. We are happy to welcome back today's speaker, UUCR member Tinka Friend. Tinka Friend spent her professional life as an elementary teacher for special needs children. She has a BA in psychology and a master in education with an emphasis in special education. She also has 3 teaching certificates, one for general education children, one for learning handicapped children, and one for severely handicapped children. She taught students ranging from 3 to 13 years of age with various special needs: autism, cerebral palsy, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, cognitively delayed, blind, severely emotionally disturbed, mute, brain injured, obsessive compulsive, oppositional conduct disorder, and many others. For almost 40 years, she put herself in the position of an advocate for the students she worked with. She found herself drawing on those experiences when writing this sermon. Today's sermon highlights the first and second tenets of the 7 UU principles which we strive to live by: the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Sometimes love is easy to give. Many things affect us, such as close, caring feelings for the people or situation. In those times, it is usually easy to love and to show that love. But we also need to be able to find and demonstrate love in the complicated places. Teachers often find themselves deep in those complicated places where love is a little harder to find. This sermon is dedicated to those teachers and students who meet in the complicated places. We now have 2 lightings of sacred flames. The first is the occupied Indigenous Peoples Remembrance Candle. The second is the lighting of our chalice, the symbol of our faith. We walk upon the traditional territories of diverse sovereign people, the original people of this land, who cry out, continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. The spot we occupy was first the sacred space of several groups of Indigenous peoples, including the Cahuilla, the Campeño, and the Serrano. We, the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside, light this sacred flame as the stewards of the sacred and holy place. We are blessed with a space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Today's reading for the chalice lighting is number 562 in our gray hymnal, A Lifelong Sharing by Mother Teresa. Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Whatever form we are, able or disabled, rich or poor, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put into the doing. A lifelong sharing of love with others. Thank you, Bill Casey. We have a tradition here at UUCR to welcome those who are visitors or perhaps returning after some time away. We know it can be uncomfortable to stand and speak in front of others, and so I will now ask for a volunteer from someone who has been here a while to tell us your name and how you found out about our church. We ask you to step close to the mic and speak into it directly and clearly so everyone can hear you. However, be aware that you will be visible on our Zoom camera and in the recording of this service, which is posted online. Do we have any church members who would like to volunteer? Alec, please step close to the microphone, speak clearly, and tell us your name, Alec.
Thank you, Nick. You spoiled it. My name is Alex Still, and I came here about 4 years ago. I can hardly believe it. Yeah, and I came here. I was brought up UU, and I came looking for a place where I could sing. That was really important, and have a UU community. And I've really enjoyed it since coming. So thank you so much.
We're like opposite twins. He's young, I'm old. He grew his hair long, I cut mine off. So, anyone new or returning who'd like to speak of how they heard about this place and came to be with us?
I'm not as tall as Alec. So my name is Casey, and I used to be really involved in this church before COVID, and I got like a lot of people, our routines changed, and I made a point to start coming back because I miss this church very much, and it means a lot to me. And my name is Casey, if I didn't say that.
I have a sister named Casey. And so, anyone else who'd like to step down? Adam, do we have anybody on Zoom? No? Okay. For any other new guests, please join us for socializing and coffee hour after the service. We'd love to chat with you out in the parish hall, where you can also find our visitors book. Please leave your name before you leave so that we know you were here, and leave your contact information if you want to know about upcoming events. For those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is to email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. It is said, shared joy is a double joy. Shared sorrow is half sorrow. On the first Sunday of each month, we share the joys and concerns that we have received from you and which you have collected throughout the month. First, I'm going to read the joys and concerns which are given to us. Okay. Okay, I don't have any dates. Let's see. No, nothing new from the book, but we'd like to hear from you out there. So if you would like to share a joy or concern, like to speak it, please raise your hand and we will invite you to speak here at the microphone.
Good morning. My name is Linda Van Voris. I don't normally do this, but I am an animal lover. Too much, maybe. But anyway, I have a joy that I just learned this morning from Ralph. His charming little dog was actually hit by a car recently. And my joy is that she is still here with us.
Thank you. Grace? Okay.
I want to thank her for telling me that. His front paw was, I was outside of him about 100 feet away, and I could hear it. The car went by, it sounded like a car door closing. And I said, oh my God, they hit my dog. And she ran back to the house and put her paw. She ran back to the house and held up her paw and looked at me like it doesn't work. Her front left paw is injured and she's not using it yet. We're hoping she'll fully recover. We don't know yet whether that's too optimistic or not. Thank you for your concern. I know a lot of you are fond of Coco, and Coco is fond of all of you.
Thank you for sharing with us. Grace?
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm Grace, and I have a joy. We got a new coworker in my office this month, and she turned out to be a very spiritual person. So we have a lot to talk about, and she's also very competent.
Hello, test. There we go. Good morning, everyone. I have nope. I have two joys and a concern today. One of the joys is it was recently birthday. We celebrated his birthday yesterday. It was a wonderful barbecue and we had a lot of fun. Happy birthday, Marcel. It was my friend's birthday recently and we celebrated it yesterday and it was a lot of fun. Happy birthday, Marcel. The second joy is, as some of you may know, my wife has had a lot of confusion and uncertainty in relation to her job. We recently got confirmation that she will be transferred to a new department in the same organization. She's going to be able to keep employment. This is wonderful. We are very happy. But that does tie into a bit of a sorrow in that that does mean we will be moving away from Riverside in about a month or two, which means I will have to be leaving this church, and I have really, really enjoyed my time here, and you have all enriched my life. So, and I thank you all.
Well,
hello, I just wanted to share a brief, unexpected semi-joy. It seems that a week ago, Amy Coney Barrett, the Supreme Court Justice, registered shock that perhaps she was dealing with the concept that women's lives don't matter at all in terms of a fetus, even if that fetus is non-viable and is dying within the womb. The fact that she was shocked shows that diversity is very important, because you notice that the two men that were placed on there, along with her being the third by Trump, don't seem to worry about that at all. Thank you.
This one is a concern, but it's also just flat weird. Did you ever in your life think that you would be concerned for the people in Dubai getting mollywopped by a storm system? They're getting pummeled out there, and I really hope that the loss of life is minimal. I've seen the storms coming into that place, but it's huge. Also, storms are flashy, but drought is this force that threatens all of us. For all the people who heal the boo-boos of the planet, large and small, God bless them. And if you can't do what they do, buy them a beer when the time comes.
Hi, my name is still Alec. A couple quick joys that I want to share. The first one is that in the last few weeks, I have officially elevated to PhD candidacy, which means that as long as I actually manage to write the dissertation, I should be that should actually happen. And the other joy that I want to share is that I'm going to get a visit from my partner Margaret today for the next few days. I'm really excited to see them again, and that's always great.
Okay, so thank you for that.
So my joy and concern comes from the news that I know we've all been listening to the last week, couple of days. I have a joy that that students who are going to college here in the United States feel that they have the right and perhaps even the obligation to stand up and state how they feel about things and try to institute change where they feel change needs to happen. My sadness is in some of the results of that and the how do I say the conflict, I guess, that that you hear about between the students of two opposing opinions in this issue. And there's a sadness in terms of sad memories, because this weekend was the anniversary of the 4 students who were killed at Kent State. And that is a memory I have because I was in college. Actually, I was in high school when that happened. And it was protesting, as we've been seeing happening across college campuses now, protesting the Vietnam War. And at that time, the National Guard was called out with live ammunition. And in the ensuing crackdown on the students, 4 students were shot and killed. So I'm grateful that that policy has changed with the demonstrations we're seeing now, but it did bring back a lot of sad memories for me.
Stay there. Anyone else? Adam.
Just one quick joy on what Tinka was talking about with the campus, campouts and whatnot. I am really proud of the UCR students and faculty. I don't know if you all were paying attention, but they got what they've been asking for. They got their demands met. The school is going to make public all of their investments and get a task force together to talk about them and see where they need to be investing, if they're investing in the right places or not. Also looking at products they've got on the shelves and all sorts of stuff. So really glad that the UCR students and faculty were able to make some change. I think that's really awesome.
I have a joy and a concern. Well, my concern is I have to do another MRI on my back. My pain is not going away. And to me, it's looking more like it might be another back fusion or revising or something like that. So we'll see. But I keep moving on. And I appreciate all the prayers and support I get here. Thank you very much. Okay, we place a stone in the water chalice, to represent the joys and concerns we have shared with our church community. Recognition of those we hold close and have not shared. A smooth one for the good times, a rough one for the tough times, and one in between for the in-between times. May we remember those who have spoken, those who have named, those they have named, and those we hold in silence in our hearts. What wondrous love is this? Our hymn now is number 18. What wondrous love is this? From the gray hymnal. Please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing number 18. What wondrous love is this?
What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round, oh my soul, oh my soul. Friends to me gathered round, oh my soul.
sharing our stewardship. This portion of our service is to support our beloved historical church. This can be accomplished several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, you may send your checks to the church address, which is shown here. You may contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is shown here, as well as the church website and in the newsletter. Stater Brothers Market gives our church a rebate on Stater grocery cards, which we will have in the church each Sunday. Amazon gift cards are also available. You get the full value, and the church also receives a percentage for free. Please see Dinah Rowe or Robert Braun in the church office if you are interested in purchasing the gift cards. Dinah will probably have them out in the parish hall after this sermon. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works best for you. Thank you for your generosity. To those who give their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. And to all of you who have joined us here today, thank you for the gift of your presence. Will the ushers now please come forward to receive the collection? A bag will also be passed around to collect food and hygiene items for those in need. Our next hymn is number 402, From You I Receive, from the Gray Hymnal. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 402, From You I Receive.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, from this we live. From you I receive.
Today's meditation is a short quote from Zora Neale Hurston. I will read it twice, then I would like you to let that sentence sit inside your mind and heart and see what images or feelings come up for you. What words stand out for you? Love makes your soul crawl out from its hiding place. Love makes your soul crawl out from its hiding place. Let us pause for a time of reflection. I would like to now introduce Tinka Friend, speaking to us on love in the complicated places.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's good to see more people here today. First, I'm going to let you know that this was originally, it's a sermon I wrote based on my own experiences. And as a teacher who taught in those complicated places. But what happened was I did a full sermon. And then when I realized that this particular morning, with all the things that we have, all the announcements, the joys and concerns, the discussion afterwards, I changed it and divided it into 2 sermons. So please come back for the other half of this sermon. And so I turned this more into a homily with a little ritual thrown in. So, as you know, I often peruse the UUA worship web, reading sermons, prayers, meditations, quotes, looking for material or inspiration for sermons. A few months ago, I found a short reading by Reverend Joe Von Rue, a settled minister at May Memorial UU Society in Syracuse, New York, titled Love in the Complicated Places. It was written on February 1st, last year, 2023. And I would like to start by sharing that with you. And this is her picture. Is it up? Yes. Oh. This is her picture that accompanied the reading. So this is her writing. As a child, I didn't always have access to the basic necessities for thriving. We often didn't have food to eat. At times, we were homeless. As you can imagine, I sometimes showed up to school wearing dirty clothing and smelling unpleasant. I was the brunt of jokes, the target of bullying, and generally kept my head down, trying to get through each day. I was not very good at school. Because of my ineptitude for learning, most of my teachers didn't pay attention to me, especially because I was my mother's daughter. Most of my teachers had her as a struggling student too. I knew myself to be a frustration for most of my teachers, who seemed to avoid me as much as possible. At least that's how they made me feel. My 6th grade teacher was called Mrs. Fong. She was a formidable woman who did not tolerate any shenanigans. Though she was never unkind towards me, I was terrified of her. After class one day, Mrs. Fong pulled me aside and said, "Do you know what deodorant is? It's time for you to start wearing some." I was absolutely mortified that a teacher had to tell me to wear deodorant. But when I was recently asked about a time when someone stuck their neck out for me, Mrs. Fong was the first person I thought of. It's funny how perspective changes over time. Something that once seemed mortifying now strikes me as a gesture of caring, of love. Love shows up in soft, easy, comfortable places. A new baby in the delivery room, a meal train when you're ill, a hug, or the sweet smile of a stranger. But here's the thing. Love shows up everywhere. We don't always recognize it, but love shows up even more in the messy, vulnerable places. Love shows up in the form of a friend seeking forgiveness. Love shows up every time we interrupt bad, oppressive comments and jokes. Love shows up in complicated conversations. And for me, love showed up in the simplicity of a teacher, awkwardly reminding me about deodorant. When I first started reading this, I thought, whoa, her teacher sounds like me. I was also a formidable woman who did not tolerate any shenanigans at my class. Then I read further, and what immediately came to mind was so many of my former students. For almost 40 years in Corona Norco Unified School District, I taught elementary special needs children from ages 3 to 13. Some came from broken single-parent homes. Some came from homes where no one spoke English. Some came from foster or group homes. Some came from alcoholic or drug-addicted homes. One even lived in a tent with no home at all. But because I always taught in Title I schools, the biggest majority, came from poor homes, homes in the depths of poverty. I taught those children, those children with autism, with attention disorders, hyperactivity, mental and developmental delays, emotional disturbances, sensory and processing disorders. And often they had no one to make sure that they had good personal and dental hygiene. My students were already being shunned by the general education students at recess and lunch because of their non-typical actions and lack of social skills. I didn't want smelly bodies to be added to that list. Most of the time, I taught 4th, 5th, and 6th grade students in a combination class. And I knew junior high would be tough enough, and I wanted to help them avoid being bullied in at least one area. So I carved out time every day from our academic minutes, and I labeled it health science. I started first with dental health. I bought each student a toothbrush, took upside down egg cartons and stuck the toothbrush handles in them with their names labeled. I bought bags of Flossmin. And then I arranged for a county nurse to come in once a month for personal hygiene instruction and to answer any questions. Because we were in portables with no sink or access to running water, isn't that where they always seem to put special ed? The nurse and I decided on flossing and dry brushing. I didn't even know that was such a thing. And so our daily morning routine, right after the Pledge of Allegiance, was brushing our teeth. It took about 5 minutes, 10 seconds on each surface of each tooth, plus our tongue and our upper palate. I chose different students to come up and lead us in this routine. And I gave each child a fresh toothbrush to take home with the urging to brush before going to bed. I often would find out later that this home toothbrush had been given to a brother or a sister. Once, while we were brushing our teeth, my principal came in. I was quickly pulled outside and sternly told that I was wasting precious academic time, that this was not going to raise their test scores on the No Child Left Behind standardized testing at the end of the year. And did I need to be reminded that special ed students are always pulling the school scores down? And besides, this is something they should have learned at home. Let their parents take care of it. Well, what to do? Well, from there, I branched out teaching other personal hygiene habits. We learned about bathing, hair washing, etc. We did a hair washing demonstration outside with buckets of water, because remember, we had no running water in our classroom. After the school nurse talked to the class about why your head might itch: dirt, dandruff, lice. Nick even occasionally helped out. I remember him talking once to my 6th grade boys from a group home in my severely emotionally disturbed class about shaving. See, these boys lived in a group home. They had no father figure. They had no older brother. Well, he was braver than I. He actually came in one day and let them help shave off his beard. Remember, this is a class of severely emotionally disturbed boys. But they were the kindest, gentlest with him. They were just so sweet. They kept saying, "Is this okay? This doesn't hurt." Because of the categories of my students, and they had such behavioral difficulties, I always had a behavior management system. I created fake money that I printed and laminated, and they earned money for good behavior and actions like attendance, homework, completing assignments, having no timeouts, and they had to pay fines for class or school violations. They learned how to count money, and every Friday for math, they opened up their bank envelope, took the money out and added it up, and kept track of it in a little bank book. Once a month, I opened the store where they could buy things with their money. I often stocked it with little toys and games from Pick and Save, and sometimes even candy. Then one student came up one time and quietly asked me, would I put some of the hygiene items in the store? Toothpaste, deodorant, combs, shampoo. I had thought of that, and so I did. And the students would often buy multiple amounts of an item for their brother, their sister, and yes, even their mother. At the end of the first year of doing that, one of my sixth grade students, who would be moving on to junior high, asked me if I could stock the store with some extra amounts of hygiene items and let them buy a bunch for the next year, because they knew they weren't going to be in my class to get any. And I did. After that year, I always had a special sixth grade store. I did it the last week of school, and it was open only to those students moving on to junior high. In addition to things like deodorant, toothpaste, brushes, combs, shampoo, I also had things I knew they would need for junior high. 3-ring notebooks, filler paper, pens, pencils, compasses, markers, rulers, staplers, divider tabs, peachy folders, calculators, even magnetic mirrors and shelves for PE lockers, as well as a combination lock, which we spent the whole year practicing on so that they would know how to use it when they moved on. Now, I had been retired for 11 years, and I had not thought of these things for a while, not until I read what Reverend Jo Von Roo wrote about her own childhood experience with her teacher. Now, back when I was doing this, it didn't occur to me that I was doing any of these things out of love. I did it out of the perspective of teaching something that they needed to learn. That's what teachers do. First one thing, then another, then another. There was a need, and I problem solved to find a solution. That's what teachers do. But after reading her piece and stepping back and looking at it through her eyes, I can see now that love was involved. As teachers, we are warned not to get emotionally involved in your students. And so we learn to look at things pragmatically and downplay them emotionally. Especially, like me, if you work with severely emotionally disturbed children. But I think love is in the mix. Without love, teachers wouldn't care if their students learned anything or not. Without love, teachers would not spend thousands of dollars out of their own pocket buying materials for their classrooms and students every year. Without love, teachers wouldn't stay after school on their own time helping students who are behind or talking to parents. So yes, I agree with Reverend Von Roo. Love was involved, even in the complicated places. Are there any teachers or former teachers among us here today? Teachers of public schools or private schools or colleges? Teachers who accepted the call to guide someone else's child? Raise your hand. Okay. Want to help me? So you need to stand or raise your hand. Right? There are any homeschool teachers? Kind of just missed. I was asking if there was anybody here who taught, either at college or at public school. Did you teach? Yeah, I thought nice. There's one of the things that they homeschool, care for their own family person. And teaching capacity. So can we have a hand for all of these teachers that are here? Thank you for your teaching, and let this rose represent the love that was manifested through your teaching. On the first Tuesday of the first full week in May is designated as National Teacher Appreciation Day. So this year, that is this coming Tuesday, May 7th. I urge you to show some love to a teacher, someone teaching a child in your family, someone teaching you something, a friend who is a teacher, a former teacher of yours or your family, a neighbor. There are so many teachers out there. And if you are a teacher, please do something nice for yourself. I didn't ask, but Adam, was there anybody that raised their hand being a teacher online? Okay, thank you. So let us be grateful for all the love that is in the world because of teachers, especially their love in the complicated places. Amen and blessed be.
Our closing hymn is number 95, There is More Love Somewhere, from the Gray Hymnal. Our closing hymn, There is More Love Somewhere. Feel free to stand in body or spirit, and please join us in singing There is More Love Somewhere.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere.
Each is. So could you come up and get a rose for him? And thank him for all of his care and love for his students. So for our closing words, just a little something I wrote. Spirit of life and love, help us to open our souls so that we may recognize where your spirit exists in our lives, especially in the messy, complicated places where it's harder to find. Namaste, amen, and blessed be.
Thank you, Tinka, for sharing your valuable time and insights with us this morning. It is sincerely appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you again. In the interest of time, we will skip the question and answer session this week. However, please feel free to share your thoughts with one another during our first Sunday luncheon in the parish. Please remember to join us for the monthly peace panel discussion back in the sanctuary between 12 and 1. Thank you all for joining us in fellowship today. Thank you.